Welcome to my very first YouTube video. My name's Ambro DiBellato, and I decided to start YouTube with the sole intention of not only documenting my journey throughout the next couple of years, but educating and bringing you guys along the way. Now, I own a company called Net Revenue. We are a recruitment and management firm that helps businesses outsource their sales process so they could grow and scale and focus on their product. Now, we've predominantly operated within the online education space, along with SaaS and the agency businesses that have outsourced their sales to us to help them grow and scale. Now, I've learned a thing or two about scaling businesses along the way, and I want to showcase you guys not only the fundamentals of how you can take sales calls and become the best possible salesperson, but how you as a business owner could also grow and scale your business through the acquisition of new clients, through the finding of talent, through managing a sales operation, and how to go about scaling your business. Now, today's episode is going to be covering the fundamentals of a sales call. Now, I have something special for you guys. I'm pulling a call out of the archives of one of my sales guys taking a call in real time where we're going to analyze it together, and I'm going to break down step by step how you need to actually go about a sales process in order to see the best results. Now, the product that this salesperson is going to be selling for the online education space is going to be for real estate education. Now, let's dive into this and let's break down the fundamentals of how you're going to close your next deal. All right, guys, so we got the call recording pulled up. This is from one of the sales guys that works over at our company for one of our clients that operates within the online education space, selling real estate education. Now, the product he's selling, I believe, is about a $38,000 product. The call spans for about 39 minutes. In order for us to get through this as quickly as possible and give you guys the exact information that you need to go close your next deal, we're gonna listen to this at about 1.5x speed. This is how we analyze all of our calls. We're giving you guys the exact playbook of what we do to close a $39,000 deal, and this is how you're going to close your very next high-ticket deal.
Hey there, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Awesome, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking. Where are you calling from?
I'm in Seattle, Washington, or Bellevue, Washington.
Okay, beautiful, local, I like that. Cool. I'm in Florida, so I'm one of the very few internal members that's on the East Coast in general, pretty much. Everyone's usually in the Seattle areas or even California, but myself, I'm on the complete other coast, so a little bit far away from you guys at the moment, but I do fly out there pretty often.
Okay,
And is this a good time to have the conversation on your end?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So I do want to invite you to turn your camera on if you do want to, but it's totally up to you, whatever you're comfortable with. Wonderful. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
So we'll jump right into things here. I'll start us off. I always like to start these calls off with a brief little overview of what to expect. So I do want to go over a few components with you, just to get to know you a little bit better, get to know what it is that you're hoping to accomplish ultimately. Obviously, I went over the application. I went over absolutely everything that you wrote down. So it sounds like everything's good on that end. Just want to go over a few more factors, and then I'll get into the mentorship with you, break that down completely, and we'll go from there at that point. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Last thing that I do want to let you know before we do jump in, these are looked at as decision-making phone calls. So all that we do ask is that we can come up to some sort of definitive answer here, whether that be a yes or that be a no. Those are both perfectly fine with me. Just trying to stay away from everything in between that. But is that okay with you before we get into everything?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So why don't you start us off? Tell me a little bit more.
So what the salesperson just did there is called setting the call. What you're doing is just essentially breaking sales calls into 4 different key components in which you're setting the call, going through a discovery phase, going into a product pitch, and then closing the deal. What Rico has done currently right here is he's just went into the first section of the sales call, is which he's setting expectations. He's essentially putting blinders on the conversation in which we're looking to make a decision today. I'm not trying to force you into anything. I'm not trying to pressure you into anything, but we do value decision makers. And listen, if everything sounds good, we don't want to have to run around and follow up with you. We want to make sure that we come to a decisive decision on this call. So we're just setting clear expectations as to how the call is going to go. And as you could see, what Rico did here was do that perfectly and just quickly set expectations to then move into the discovery phase of the call.
A little bit more about yourself, but I guess primarily what was the motivation behind booking one of these calls?
I just need more information on kind of backstory. I'm 26 now. I just turned 26 last month, and I have a very good business where I'm turning 7 figures to 8 figures annually, and I'm probably on at the moment a decent amount of cash. I think well over 8 figures, and the APY or everything I get from private banking is nice, where I get 5.25.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to have other businesses established because I don't really want to rely on just that or other stuff. So I've kind of been looking at 150 unit apartment deals and some other stuff, and I've looked at development and other stuff as well.
So mistakes are bound to happen with the first YouTube video. That fucking camera over there died. So we are back at it, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna have to rewind the call a little bit and we're gonna get into it. So Where was the last part we stopped off at?
With Rico?
Yeah.
He was just starting the discovery.
Starlink, one thing that I have to say is that you are exceptionally shit. Elon Musk, fuck you. Okay, but that was not what you know.
Okay, you're fine.
Did that just die? All right, so after 30 minutes of fumbling around like an idiot, finally got the Wi-Fi and the call to work, so let's dive back into this.
At the moment, a decent amount of cash, I think well over 8 figures. And the APY or everything I get from like private banking is nice, where I get 5.25. But I like to have other businesses established because I don't really want to rely on just that or money.
So we're at the part of the call where we're in the discovery phase and we're trying to uncover information pertaining to our prospect as to why they booked the call in the first place. If you're taking any type of inbound calls, there's a reason why your prospect is on the line. They're not there because they like to waste time and want to uncover more information. If they wanted more information, they would go through reviews, they would go through YouTube videos, they would go through your guys' company website. They're on the call because they're there to make a purchasing decision and they want to vet you throughout the conversation. It's your job to uncover the pain and the goal behind why they showed up in the first place. So we want to ask some introductory questions as to what they do for a living, why they were interested in the mentorship, the product and or service, and what we're doing in this sales call relates to any type of sales. The only type of sales where it's not as applicable is in outbound sales. You typically have to create the need for your product and or service in an outbound setting. What you're just trying to do in an inbound setting where you have a booked call that hops onto a Zoom call or a scheduled appointment or a phone call is simply uncover why they booked the call in the first place. What had them interested in your guys' product or service? And that's exactly what Rico's doing in this section of the call.
Other stuff. So I've kind of been looking at like 150 unit apartment deals and some other stuff. And I've looked at development and other stuff as well. So for me, it's like, I just want to kind of expand my horizon and kind of diversify into a few other things. I know a lot of the people you guys probably on board are, just guys that are trying to get their first thing or whatever. For me, it's it doesn't really do much for me to get one house. I'm already a house owner, but I live over here in Bellevue, and I'm renting an apartment here just because I work pretty a lot. So it's nice to have kind of a lifestyle. I don't know if you've been to the Bellevue area here. Yeah, so it's like I'm right in front of the mall here, and everything kind of at arm's reach, and concierge can kind of go pick up anything I need as well for me. So for me, it's more so like I just want to expand income coming in and not just collect just interest checks from my bank on a month-to-month basis, right? Because it's nice getting $80,000 a month from the bank, but I prefer kind of not just relying on that outside of just working for my income.
Makes perfect sense. And obviously you want to go down different routes, and real estate seems to be one of the routes that you want to take ultimately and start your capital that you have to use to start building wealth for yourself at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. And obviously,
so what Rico did right there was called labeling the prospect. Essentially, this is a technique used by the FBI negotiator, Chris Voss, the individual who wrote Never Split the Difference. It's a great book. If you're new to sales or looking to get into sales or a business owner, learning how to negotiate, that is a great book. And it's a great place to start in learning the principles of negotiation and persuasion. And this is exactly what Rico did to affirm the whole reason as to why this prospect is on the call, was just to reiterate and label back to him exactly what he's looking to accomplish, which is to build wealth through real estate.
obviously you mentioned that you've been looking at apartment buildings, these bigger projects as of right now. What's been holding you back from pulling the trigger on anything?
A lot of them don't necessarily make sense where,
So now what Rico's doing is he's furthering the gap. He labeled this prospect and now he's asking an open-ended question as to, well, obviously you're a successful dude, you've had a lot of success in business, and you're not new to real estate, you're looking to scale. What is really holding you back from going and acquire these properties that you're looking to get into? So he's widening the gap as to why he needs our product, which is real estate education at a higher level, in order to help him educate himself on the principles necessary in order to invest at a high level.
in terms of like the risk reward on it, I'm looking at a foreclosure apartment complex and trying to negotiate that portion down a little bit. Work with the bank to kind of see if they're willing to play ball. But in the current times, it's hard to find too many deals unless you're actively searching for it. And even like I've had a lot of things kind of brought to me, but it's hard to kind of decipher what's what, right? It's like having my cash flow. It also kind of puts me at like a risk in terms of just kind of like people just pitching you random junk things, not really needed.
I was about to say, there's going to be people just bringing you a bunch of garbage.
Yeah. So
They're sitting on capital. Yeah.
but there's also a lot of upside with having cash flow, right? It's like I can close same day if needed, if it's something, miraculously underpriced or something
Yep.
very, very valuable, or, a deal fell out, like, hey, I can jump in, like, yeah, hey, I can do this, I can do hard money loans, I can do a bunch of different stuff, right?
Yep.
But for me, at least, it's like, I'm still trying to build it out, because I don't want, the one thing I was telling my dad on this was like, yeah, we have all this new money that kind of came in over the last few years. It's like, but I don't really want to use this to kind of forefront it, right? So I bought some land up in UP or University Place. So it's like more towards the Tacoma area. And I believe they're in the process of getting the permits for, I think, something like 200 units for apartment complex over there. But we also had some interest from, I believe, builders that were wanting to buy the property. So there was a thing where once it's permit ready, we can kind of sell to the builders. And maybe that numbers I got were anywhere from 15 to 25,000 a door or whatever and build on it. But I wasn't sure, how accurate those numbers actually are or how true they are either.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, sorry, was it?
I was just going to say, it sounds like you want to know how to do these calculations for yourself wholeheartedly, understanding what the returns are going to be before you make any investment for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. And I guess, what are you looking for specifically out of mentorship or out of Thatch? We won't even call it mentorship, but out of Thatch, what is it that you're kind of looking for?
Just, well, in my head, I'm sure he works with the bank, right? But if
So now Rico's furthering the gap and furthering his understanding of the prospect's needs. And this is the whole point behind the discovery phase. Once we've gone through the set, we kind of, put the rails as to what the conversation can entail. And obviously we're here to talk about, in our case, this product, which is real estate education. He's reaffirming why the prospect's on the call. It's also going to help him understand what does this prospect need to see in order to purchase said product or service. Then you could tailor certain elements of your product or service to the prospect to fill their needs. So asking them a very simple open-ended question like, what are you looking to accomplish here? What is it, the main reason you want to buy our product and or service? What is the reasoning behind needing X, Y, and Z? And that'll open up a little bit of information that you'll be able to use later on in the call, hence why the discovery phase is so important.
just, well, in my head, I'm sure he works with the bank, right? But if he needed like just hard money loans for anything, right? In exchange for kind of like a mentorship thing, like, hey, kind of just bring me in on things that, maybe we can help each other. Like, I can give you quick cash on whatever you need, or, I wouldn't mind paying for the mentorship. It's no problem. But, I ideally would want like kind of, at least how a lot of my business dealings work is usually a trade-off, right? And for me, like I said, I didn't say, but I'm a sports and concert ticket broker, right? So usually my trade-offs typically work where people just want like experiences to various things. So, I would send a lot of people from Seattle up for F1 and whatnot. And then, just business teams overall, where they just want to kind of trade things off. They're like, hey, I can get you, these rewards at Marriott, or just upgrade you nonstop, or, I think for like executive level or some stuff like that. But it's like different trade-offs, right? Usually in business, it's not just, money deals always happening. It's a lot of trade-offs, especially value in, value out. I have a big tech background, so a lot of my, things usually revolve around technology and how to kind of better myself into those aspects. And that's kind of the angle I was looking at was for real estate, was kind of more of a tech related kind of thing, and kind of putting the things that I know about certain niches together to kind of maybe build out something technology wise that I think could benefit in terms of finding deals and everything consistently and a lot better than most people. But I'm still kind of just, it's like projects I gave to my developers.
Okay. That was a lot, but that was a lot of kind of trade-off. My question was more, what are you looking for out of mentorship? What do you need help with, brother?
Oh, I would say
So this was a great way of Rico steering the conversation in the right place. Now, he noticed his prospect was veering a little bit off course. He was going more so into, I'll do something for you guys and you do something for me, and kind of this trade-off nonsense, where Rico kind of reaffirmed, hey man, like, yeah, that's great and all, but what are you really looking to accomplish in this mentorship? So that way I could see if I could help you. So he just steered the conversation in the right direction, kind of like a no nonsense approach. Of course, you don't have to be abrasive. You don't have to disrespect your prospects or anything like that, but it's okay to kind of call a timeout or veer the conversation in the right direction when you see it's kind of going sidetracked.
permitting side of things, how to kind of figure out what a property is worth and what it's valued at, and kind of the A to Z steps. So I feel like I would probably go the direction of more so real estate development from the ground up, rather than kind of buying and fixing up and doing all those type of things. I mean, those are nice, don't get me wrong, but I think for my side, I really want to kind of start getting involved in, 3, 5, 10, 20 plot land stuff, or, of lots of, or just kind of building from the ground up, right? Start with like some small project, right? And then just work my way up. And then eventually turn those as like, use that as like a baseline for money into the industry, and then eventually just turn that into just a big part of complex as the end goal. So my end goal realistically is about 200 units, right? That's the thing I've had in my mind since I was 17, 18. So,
and you see, now that Rico steered the conversation in the right direction, now we got to the real goal, which is what this guy wants to accomplish. He wants 200 properties. This is going to give him the financial freedom, the reliability, the sustainability that he's kind of looking for. I mean, I don't know too much about this guy's business and what he does, but of course, he makes a lot of money, and he's looking to put that into something that's a little bit more long lasting. As you know, businesses, have peaks and valleys in terms of performance. This guy wants to create a little bit more security, a little bit more of stability in his business career. So that's, eventually the goal. Obviously, Rico will uncover a little bit more information of why that's important to him.
So for me, I'm kind of just looking in that direction. Whenever I get kind of very pleased at life, and I can start focusing on other aspects.
Beautiful. And just to let you know, brother, with the type of capital that you're kind of playing with at the moment, 200 units should not be the end goal, if I'm being honest. 200 units, I think that you can...
For me, the goal is kind of to give me like a big baseline that I'm kind of safe and I don't really have to worry, right? Leave them.
So this is cool. This guy already has a big goal. 200 units is a lot. Now keep in mind, this guy makes multiple 7 figures per year. He has, more than 8 figures in liquid capital. He would be considered an accredited investor. He could certainly go up and scoop up 200 properties if he really set his mind to it and he got the right leverage. But Rico's making that goal a little bit bigger. Of course, with an individual investing in deals that size, they could almost, feel superior to you in the sales setting. Rico's doing an excellent job of regaining control and saying, hey man, that's a great goal. I think you should even aim a little bit higher, because that's exactly what most people would do in your position. So think a little bit bigger. And that allows you to maintain a little bit of that expertise, a little bit of that authority. Of course, don't do it at the expense of sounding ignorant or not knowing what you're talking about. But of course, making sure people have big aspirations and make sure that you push those goals a little bit so that they could set something up great for themselves.
Leave the money in the bank, and it's making money every day without really having to touch it. Yeah, do all right. But for me, I at least want the 200 units to kind of just as a safety net, and then from it's kind of a different goal spot.
Okay, cool. So real estate goals to the 200 units, however long that takes. So that's what you're looking to accomplish. You want to start off with ground up projects, primarily start working on building. That is exactly what Thatch is doing, by the way. At this point, he's not really necessarily into just the typical BRRRR method anymore. He's not buying a distressed property and renovating it. He's buying a distressed property that has a large plot of land that is downtown Seattle, tearing it down, building an apartment complex or a micro apartment complex or a townhome complex, right? So these are all things that Thatch is specializing in, especially right now. That's exactly what he's working on. My question to you is, are you looking more for mentorship or mentorship/partnership? Are you, basically my question, like the way I'm going to differentiate this is, are you looking for something that is as hands-off as possible, where you can figure out a way to put your capital into good investments without having to put a lot of time into it?
No. So I definitely want to be involved in this type of stuff. Not just deploying capital when, seeing the kind of check come back to me. It's more so I would like to learn and grow. And if it comes to like a partnership type of agreement, I'm very open to that. If it comes to kind of just a straight mentorship, I'm okay with that as well, right? Because everything on my business aspects is kind of on my own, right? Yep. And I'm very well, and I'm very comfortable in life, right? And for me, it's kind of just, I just want a little bit more than what I currently have. And granted, I can probably get to everything I need using my current business, but I want to use that business as long as that business is operating and running and, going as smooth as it is, I really want to use that as like kind of a down payment on everything else I'm building up, right? For me, every year, you might get like a couple mil to 8-9 million coming in from the business in P&L. And then even if you lose $1 million on a deal, it's not going to be the end of the world, just because, you're already sitting on a boatload of cash, right? And you need more cash in, right? So it's like cash in, cash out, right? So for me, I just want to take the money I'm coming on a month-to-month basis and kind of deploy it into other aspects.
Absolutely. And just creates more of a security net for yourself, right? Beautiful. Yeah. I understand completely. All right, cool. And the reason I was asking that question more than anything was just because we have two, I don't want to call them two programs, because it's the main mentorship and then we have the inner circle, which is more direct access, more of that partnership vibe with Thatch himself. And it's more specifically focused on the actual bigger project side of things, the scalability of a portfolio. As you said, not just getting into one property, because that's not going to change a whole lot for you. How do you deploy your capital and get yourself into bigger projects right away, while still learning how to actually go through with all of this, right? We want to still teach you how to do it. We're not here just doing the work for you at the end of the day. And I want to make sure that that is clear. But we want to walk you through how to go through this process, provide you the resources you need, and even funding, if that's something you're looking for. But At the end of the day, that's totally up to you. We just want to teach you the different ways to get into properties, find these properties, have platforms work for you using these tools, platforms that we're going to provide you access to, and then figure out which properties are the ones that you should be investing into, which ones you should be walking away from, and start pulling your cash the way that you need to so you can start building wealth through the real estate route. Ultimately, whichever route that you go down, whether it's inner circle or the regular mentorship, do that. The difference is with the inner circle, it's more of that, like I said, direct access. With Thatch, that is more partnership oriented, where bigger projects are going to be partnered on if that's something that you want to get yourself into, a lot with whether it's Thatch himself or the other inner circle members that are part of us as well.
So this is a great tip, whether you're a business owner or a salesperson. Selling two things as opposed to one is always going to be beneficial, because now it doesn't become a question as to whether or not the prospect is going to buy your product or service. It's which product or service is your prospect going to buy. And that is the key differential that's going to cause you to sell more, as not only are you tailoring the different products to different customer needs and different levels of development, where you're going to be deploying a technique used by major corporations. For example, Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Now, have you ever seen a Pepsi machine and a Coke machine right next to each other and think, why are these businesses competing for advertisement? Why are they competing for location? Or you see, a Starbucks here and then another coffee shop there, or a gas station right next to each other. It's not because there's not enough place for these people to put their vending machines and or establishments. It's because psychologically, as consumers are walking past your business and or your product, they're not thinking to themselves, should I have a carbonated beverage or not? What should I choose, Pepsi or Coca-Cola? So this is a great tactic for when you're selling a product or service, to have two different products that your prospect will be able to choose between.
That you want to get yourself into, a lot with whether it's Thatch himself or the other inner circle members that are part of us as well. But like I said, that's a decision for you to make.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine.
Cool. So one thing that I did want to touch on, just because of the previous conversation that we had, trade-offs, it's not really something that I can work on. Okay. Well, I have kind of set standards to join the mentorship. It's X amount, but partnerships for the future, if that's something that you want to discuss with Thatch, by all means, you can go for it, because Thatch is very open to that at all times, especially when it comes to business in general. But to join the mentorship, I don't really have much of a say on that at the end of the day. Okay. All right, brother. So any questions for me? Anything specifically you wanted to go over, whether it's regarding Thatch himself, the mentorship, any specific questions that you wanted to ask? No? Okay, cool. So I'll give you a little bit of a rundown on the actual structure of the mentorship, kind of what it looks like on the inside.
So now that Rico's done a great job in the discovery phase of uncovering the needs of the prospect, what they're looking to accomplish, what are the big goals, and why do they have those goals in the first place, and understanding the gap of where they're at and where they need to go in order to achieve those goals, now he's going to transition into the product pitch, where he's going to tailor the product pitch to what he uncovered inside the discovery phase. Now, this doesn't mean go make up whatever the fuck you want in your product. This means tailoring key elements of your product or service to the needs of your customer. And if you don't have those things, well, maybe you should work on your product if you're a business owner. And if you're a salesperson and your product is not helping the vast majority of the consumers that are hopping on the phone with you or that you're outbounding, then maybe it's time to find a different company or talk to marketing to try to get them to adjust some things.
So you have that information for yourself. I'll again give you more detailed differences of the inner circle versus the regular option. You choose which one best suits you, and we'll get you set up and get you started here. Okay. So Springboard 12, lifetime access.
So once again, notice how Rico is putting the position of which product you want to buy, not if you're going to buy a product today. He's tapping into his prospect's subconscious. At the end of the day, he's identified a need from the prospect. He knows this individual has the capital necessary to invest and make great decisions when it comes to investing in real estate. And he's just reaffirming, hey, you could choose this thing or you could choose that thing. Both are going to help you. One's just going to get you there a lot quicker.
Once you're with us, you're with us forever. And the reason being is because of that simple fact that we're not just providing education at the end of the day, we're showing you how to do this. And we don't want to take that away from you. And on top of that, not only are we showing you and walking you through these processes, we're going to be providing you the resources you need to actually accomplish these strategies. Again, we don't want to take that away from you. We've developed this network of students, coaches, and resources for a reason, because we want our students to take advantage of those resources. So that's kind of the way it's built. What we call ourselves at this point is more of a one-stop shop than anything else. Everything that you need is all in one place. You don't have to outsource anything. You don't have to go here, left, right, Google for contractors. No, it's all in one place, which makes it very accessible for our students to start scaling their portfolio to whatever it is that they want to scale it to. Like you said, some people are coming into this and they want to figure out how to get into one property or 5 properties or 10. But we do have students that are coming into this with the same mindset as you. They want the 100, the 200, the 300 units in their possession. So we have to be able to create a roadmap for both these different types of individuals who are coming in. So you're going to get your own roadmap that Thatch is going to create for you. It's going to be a blueprint for you to follow.
Now, guys, If this video is going a little bit too quickly for you, what I'd recommend is slowing down the video on YouTube. It's going to allow you to hear it at regular speed. I know it's always nice to hear the tonality, but by the nature of the YouTube algorithm, I got to pump this out as quickly as possible for you guys and give you the information that you need in a short, condensed time period. But if you want to listen to this thing at regular speed, just click that little icon at the bottom and change the speed of the video so you can listen to this in real time.
What needs to be done, what types of properties you need to be targeting, and where you should be investing, what markets should you be going after. We're going to be having these conversations with you. But we don't want to just have the conversation again. We want to teach you how to do this for yourself as well. So we have our curriculum. You're going to have access to coaching calls on a weekly basis. You're going to be communicating with Thatch on a weekly basis as well whenever you need them. Scheduled coaching is going to be with Thatch, but you have full access to Thatch, Stephanie, we're the founders, and all of our coaches within our networking community for daily questions. You have our curriculum, which is going to go through the entire process, A to Z, basically. How to locate and source deals, how to target the off-market sector, how to find listings on market that are below market value, how to do your analysis correctly so you're not making any mistakes and you know what to invest into, the actual strategies to implement and follow, as well as everything afterwards, right? The business side of real estate, the tax benefits and deductions, the LLCs, the INs, the S corps, all that fun stuff, the leveraging components, and the reevaluation and refinancing process. So we're going to go over absolutely everything with you, curriculum-based, coaching-based, and then, like I said, the resources. General contractors, property management companies, housing inspection companies, architects, engineers, electricians, plumbers, painters, CPAs, virtual assistants. Pretty much everything that you need, we provide, as well as our funding source. So you're going to have access to our funding source as well. And like I said, if you want to have conversations with Thatch about other things other than real estate, by all means, you can have full access to Thatch as well. When it comes to the inner circle, like I already mentioned, the main differentiating factor here is the scalability of your portfolio as well as partnership oriented versus mentorship oriented. This is focused on getting into partnerships for bigger deals, working with other people who are looking.
So last year, we sold about 5,000 products to our customers. Over the course of all the clients that we work with, we were able to close 5,000 deals, and we only sell high ticket services, so do the math on that. But in selling 5,000 products, we've broken down the product pitch into 3 different segments in which it is the most digestible for people in the online education space. And that's basically broken down into, you have the education, you have the implementation, and then you have the community. Now you could tailor this to your product and or service, where you have the service itself, you have customer care, and then you have, let's say for instance, like the after service where, you're coming in for checkups. Let's say for instance, you're designing someone's cabinets, you're doing home hardware, whatever. And you go into someone's house, you set up the cabinets, you make sure that you get everything set up. You make sure that the customer is happy with their service, where you come for regular maintenance, let's say a week or 2 after, to just make sure everything's in order, make sure that the customer's happy with the service, and then you could pitch it as such. So that's just a quick example. I know it was a pretty shit example, but you get the idea. We want to break it into 3 different segments in which our product and their service is going to be comprised of, and you could do that in any which way that serves you best. But at least if you're selling anything in the online education space, you have the education, you have the implementation, and then you have the community.
Looking at deals that they've already done the analyzation for, they're just looking for someone to come in with them. So it's very easy for you to get into multiple deals within a year and allow that scalability of your portfolio rather than just doing all the legwork by yourself. But you can still go through whatever route you want to take, even if you're in the inner circle, because we're still going to be teaching how to go through this process for yourself. You're going to also be provided with Thatch's phone number in the inner circle, so it's legitimately direct contact with him whenever you need him. And like I said, partnerships with Thatch is also something that's oriented within the inner circle side of things. So that's the main mentorship. And at the end of the day, it's not 2 separate things. It's more springboard to wealth, which you have to join regardless. And look at inner circle as almost like an upgrade, if that's an upgrade that you want to take. Okay? Based off of everything that I've gone over, anything that you want me to go into a little bit more detail about? No? How's that sounding? At least, is it kind of in line with what you're looking for out of mentorship?
Yeah. I mean, so I had back when I was 18, I started a company with a 16-year-old developer back then. And then it was like a SaaS program, right? And basically people pay X amount of money on a month-to-month basis, and then in exchange you get access to information and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
We hired someone as like a closer on a lot of those aspects of just, close calls, or it was more so like viral marketing is what we did. But for like bigger things, we got to kind of XYZ can kind of close things for you for, I don't know, like $2,000 deal or $5,000 deal or whatever, right?
Yep.
I know it sounds like a very similar pitch to that, truthfully, right? And that's just me being honest, right? I'm very honest individual. I just keep it to the point. I don't really guess around or kind of beat around the bush. I'm just to the point for the most part. But just like my only concerns, I would say, is kind of how the email stuff was set up. It seems very, I would say, a bit outdated in terms of the approach, right? It just seems very, so I'm kind of trying to think on how to explain it, but it feels like my concerns would kind of be like the contact aspect. Is it actually, am I getting his iPhone number, or is it like getting a green text bubble where it kind of goes through, I'm trying to blank on the company that a lot of people use. I believe, even the way you were reaching, I think it's through that company. It's like $99 a month or something back then. But that was kind of my only concern. Is like, is it actually direct contact, or is it like a third party app and they can kind of see everyone messaging and communicate back with them?
So just to give context, this guy's fully talking shit about the automations that we've set up for our client. Now, are we going to be perfect in 100% of cases? Of course not, but it's always great to hear the customer feedback and make changes to our process. So for instance, we utilize Go High Level and Close.io for a lot of our text automations and email sequences that go out to prospects. Make sure that, especially if you're starting out as an early business owner or, an early salesperson, that you're manually texting all of your prospects because they notice stuff like that. We just can't do it at the scale that we're operating at, and we're still looking for solutions. So if you guys have solutions, write in the comment section any solutions. I'd love to hear them out. Like I said, I'm not perfect, always looking to learn and adapt. But if you have any recommendations or you provide a service like that, drop a message below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. But this is just an example of how you need to adapt to those conversations and make sure that you are providing a great service so that even though, not everything in the customer journey is amazing, as long as you actually know how to fulfill on a customer's needs and identify those needs in the first place, you could get them to start to get to your side of the equation and understand the value of your product and their service.
So I'm kind of trying to like how to explain it, but it feels like my concerns would kind of be like the contact aspect. Is it actually, am I getting his iPhone number, or is it like getting a green text bubble where it kind of goes through, I'm drawing a blank on the company that a lot of people use. I believe, even though you were reaching, I think it's through that company. It's like $99 a month or something back then. But that was kind of my only concern. Is like, is it actually direct contact, or is it, like a third party app and they can kind of see everyone messaging and communicate back with them, right?
The mentorship, are you talking about?
No, the inner circles.
The inner circle?
Yeah.
The inner circle is you're going to get Thatch's phone number. He's going to give it to you.
Okay.
The inner circle is no joke. The inner circle, but neither is the mentorship. The mentorship program, you're still going to be meeting with Thatch on a weekly basis on live video call. This isn't just have a random number and you're texting some random person.
Okay.
The setup for these calls is just...
So notice how Rico is nonchalantly addressing the customer's concerns. He's not making a big fuss about it. Of course, he could have just said, oh yeah, I'm sorry that, our system is outdated and blah, 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 blah. And you could get into all those little, nuanced issues that the customer is presenting. But he just nonchalantly was like, hey, this is no joke. You're going to have access to X, Y, and Z. And this is exactly how we're going to help you, scale your real estate portfolio. So you just have to address things in a very nonchalant manner and act like most things aren't a big deal. Like, even though you may encounter, prospects that are disgruntled, maybe you followed up with them a little bit too much, maybe you were a little bit too pushy in certain instances of the call. The best way of handling that is just by being cool, calm, and collected. And as you're going about that process, you're just making sure that you're trying to help this person. The number one thing that I tell all of my sales guys in every team meeting that we have is that you got to care about your customer. And I know it sounds cliche and I know it sounds stupid, and it's just like, hey man, I'm in sales. I just want to make money. I want to make sure that I'm not selling something that's full of crap and I just want to get paid. That's fine. That's great. It's the whole reason you got into sales, and most probably the whole reason why you got into business, for being real. In the odd instance, there's some guy, cleaning the ocean and X, Y, and Z. But for most of the people listening, you're in business because you want to make fucking money, which I am too. But you want to do that with a clear conscience, knowing that you're helping your prospects and actually caring about them finding a solution to their problem. Because not only are you going to make your products better, not only are you going to sell better, but it's going to be a more enjoyable experience. And when you come to the end of your days, you're going to look back on it and say, hey, I actually pushed humanity forward. Whatever little incremental small part of humanity's involvement, I played a little role in making things better, not worse. So care about your prospects. Human beings are going to feel that, and they're going to know whether you're providing them with a valuable service just based off of how much you care about them. So care about your prospects and have conviction in your product and their service. And trust me, half the battle is won right there. So notice how Rico just went about that nonchalantly, believes full-heartedly in the product that he's selling. And as a result, you're just like, yeah, this is no joke, man. Like, he basically giggled it off and just went about that process.
Calls is just set up for making sure people are actually showing up to these calls. It's a whole lot different in the actual mentorship program. This is Thatch. So that shouldn't be a concern whatsoever. Your first week, you're going to meet with him twice within that week. You're going to be meeting with him every single week, twice a week, live on video call. The inner circle, you're going to have Thatch's phone number. You're going to be able to call him whenever you need him. That's the point of the inner circle, though. And that's why we only have about 22 inner circle members. Out of the 1,700 students that we have in Springboard 12, we only have 22 inner circle members.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns?
No, I'm good.
All right, cool. So the pricing, I'll give you the pricing oriented to both of those options. The regular Springboard 12 is $9,800. The inner circle is $40,000.
Okay. What was the first one you said? $9,800?
So notice how this plays a factor later on in the call when you're saying the pricing of both products, and now it's no longer a question as to whether or not this individual wants to purchase a product and or service from you, it's which product or service do they want to purchase. I mean, this is such a crucial point of the sales process that it can be overlooked. And sometimes you only have one product to sell. And listen, we've done it plenty of times when we've scaled plenty of companies to millions of dollars per year in revenue with only one singular product, but it's always nice to have two. Just makes your life a million times easier. I highly recommend, if you don't have one, consider adding a product. And I highly recommend, if you don't have two products to sell, make sure that you as a business owner develop that product, or you as a salesperson, make sure you bust everyone's balls to make sure that you get something like that, because it's just so much easier.
9,800, exactly. That's for the lifetime access, the Springboard to Wealth. With the upgrade to the actual inner circle side of things, it's about $30,000, which it's, like I said, look at it as an add-on to the regular thing. So it's like an additional $30,000 for the inner circle side of things. But the main mentorship, which is lifetime access, is 9,800.
Okay.
Where would you like to start off? Do you think you want to go straight into the inner circle, or you want to take it one step at a time?
I mean, I'd probably go straight to inner circle, but...
So look at that. So he's challenging his prospect a little bit here. Obviously, Rico knows this guy is an affluent individual. He has the capital. He wants to move quickly. And he asks him, do you want to take it step by step, or do you want to just jump into inner circle? Kind of being like, hey, do you want to take the slow way and really, just do everything yourself? Or do you want a little bit more hands-on help, more of the premium service, more of the white glove service, if you may, that's just going to help you accelerate things much quicker. And think about that whenever you're pricing your products and or services. Like, as you go more towards the higher end of the price ranges, you want to make sure that a lot of things are done for you or done with you, so that you get the best results for your clients and accelerate that process, whatever that looks like.
But only thing I kind of fear is I'm not big on a lot of like online guru type of stuff, right? Like, I watch videos occasionally on stuff, right? And I learn things here and there. But sometimes I feel like I don't know if the value is always kind of built in, right? Like, for a lot of the stuff you mentioned on working with lenders or people you guys kind of work with, right? For me, it's like kind of a bit above that, right?
Above working directly with someone who has developed a $200 million portfolio?
No. I'm talking about...
So here, once again, Rico is challenging his prospect. He's trying to undermine the education that this educator is providing, even though that individual has a $200 million portfolio. So he just kind of reaffirms, like, you're above an individual with $200 million in real estate, and kind of just, cuts the shit, gets straight to the point, doesn't try to pander to his prospect. He's doing it in a professional way, of course. He's not trying to undermine his prospect or belittle him or anything of that nature. He's just being like, hey, man, like, let's cut the smoke screen here. Obviously, you're not above an individual with $200 million in real estate.
Some of the stuff that you mentioned, the first thing, the Springboard 12 or whatever,
yeah.
The 90, this seems very beginnerish, right? But the inner circle, the only thing I'm not kind of getting all the information on the inner circle, if that makes sense. Sorry.
It's hard. It's difficult to give all the information on the inner circle just because of how personalized the inner circle is. Because it's dependent on a person-to-person basis. It's not just a one shoe fits all type thing, right?
Yeah.
You need this very specifically. Thatch is going to help you accomplish that because you're working directly with Thatch. So it's not like I can give you an example and say that this is exactly what you're going to get. With the inner circle, it's going to be very personalized to you, to your situation. You're going to talk to Thatch. This is what I want to accomplish. I want 200 units in X amount of time. Where do you think I should be starting? What types of property should I be targeting? And he's going to be walking you through and creating a blueprint for you to follow and helping you follow that blueprint to a T, and even helping you get into partnerships that fit in line with those types of properties, basically. So that's what I mean by the inner circle is not something that I can kind of just describe to you, because it's not something describable. It's a per person basis.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I would probably look at inner circle then.
And I want to make sure that if you have any concerns like that, bring them up, because I want to make sure that you understand what it is, what it looks like on the inside, brother.
And look how Rico's going back to address any concerns. Of course, this individual doesn't have all the information he needs to make a decision, but Rico understands that, the nature of the product that he's selling isn't something that's going to be in an email template or something that you could fully describe, just because of the nature of the product. And sometimes in a lot of cases, some of your guys' products, especially if it's in the online education space, they're going to be a little bit more tailored to the specific individual that you're dealing with. The same example could be for like if you're working in software or you're working in an agency space, the products and services that you guys are selling to different, corporations, whether it be B2C, B2B, they differ. So you got to be able to adapt and pivot in these kinds of situations inside the call.
Yeah. Maybe if you kind of send me a follow-up email about kind of the things you outlined, because I'm more of a visual learner, and although I'm hearing you, sometimes it makes it easier for me when I can read it on a piece of paper as well, right?
So this is a death sentence for any business owner or any salesperson when you have explained in great detail, more or less, the product and their service. You've gone through the discovery phase, you set the call, and they're just like, yeah, just send me an email. If you don't address that then and there and handle that objection, you're just going to be faced with disappointment once you send that email and send a couple follow-up texts and you never hear anything back. Now, is there the odd instance in which a prospect's going to reach back out to you and be like, hey, I'm ready to go. I have my Visa and or MasterCard, or I have the wire, or X, Y, and Z? Yeah, but in the large majority of cases, that's not going to happen. You're going to be ghosted, you're going to be left on red, and you're just going to be wasting your time sending an email to a prospect that's never going to pull the trigger in the first place. Now, obviously, this guy's a ton of buy-in. So let's see how Rico handles it, but I'd love to hear what you guys think you should say right in the chat. What would you say to a prospect that says, hey, send me an email? Write in the chat for us in the comments section what your best objection handle is for, hey, just send me an email, I'll look over it.
That's okay with you?
I mean, I could. There's no stress in that. But at the end of the day, you said you're interested in the inner circle, right?
Yeah.
So again, I'm going to write an email about personalization and what it is that you need exactly, because that's what we're going to help you with. There's no real description that I can provide to you. It's a direct access with that. You're going to be meeting with him 3 times per week, and you're going to have his phone number, and he's going to help you create an action plan for you to follow and walk you through how to follow that action plan. It's very, very simple what you're going to be provided with. It's not something that's complex. You're going to be meeting with that. You have his phone number. Learn a strategy and a methodology to find the right properties and calculate everything that you need to calculate, making sure that you understand what every single return is going to look like on these properties, and what properties that you should be looking at. These are properties that you shouldn't be looking at. This is a market that you should be looking at. This is a market to stay away from. And he's going to help you walk you through that entire process, reaching towards whatever goal it is that you have in mind, which from what I'm hearing is the 200 units. I don't know how long you want to accomplish that in, but at the end of the day, that's just going to help you create a realistic roadmap to getting there.
So masterfully handled by Rico. He just basically was like, yeah, I can send you an email. So he affirms what the prospect wants him to do. But I'm basically going to be reiterating exactly what we're discussing on this call. There's nothing for me to really send you. And even if you do have the material and all that stuff, that should be sent prior to the call, prior to the appointment, prior to the actual sales call itself, in which you're going through the persuasion process where you're informing your prospect and giving them the necessary due diligence so they can come to the call best prepared. So you want to do that well before they ever hop on the call. You don't want to do that after. You don't want them to give them the price, have them marinate on it, have them not really, be in an action taking state. It's not going to be conducive to you making a potential sale. So it's just something to keep in mind. Rico handled it beautifully. He addressed his concerns, but then also alleviated them with, hey, I'm on the phone with you right now. That's my whole job, is to help you overcome whatever limiting beliefs you might have, any lack of understanding with our product and our service, and just help you walk through that process. So he handled it beautifully right here.
Right, yeah. Okay.
So that's what we're going to help you do.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's fine.
It's just writing it in an email or a follow-up. There's not a whole lot that I can really, more than that, there's no information that I can really provide to you, just because of how personalized it is.
Yeah. Okay, no, I mean, it makes sense then.
So you comfortable? You think that you're in a place to get started?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you want to go straight into inner circle?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, on my end, pull up the invoice. With the inner circle, because it's an add-on, it's going to have to be 2 transactions if you don't mind, okay? So it's like the Springboard to Wealth, get into that, and then the add-on of Inner Circle, all right?
Okay.
Well, let me handle that on my end, and I'm just going to go over some information with you, and we'll get everything filled out and get you all set up. So we'll do the 9800 one first. The information that I have on your file, the one that you applied with, Jay,
Yep.
perfect, the email.
So this deal is pretty much closed up. We're going to go through the last little tidbits of, what Rico does to actually process this transaction. And so I don't get a bunch of haters saying, oh, the deal didn't really close. It was a mock-up call. I'm going to make sure that we go through the transaction process. Of course, I'm going to blur out the transaction details and any important, personal information. But one of the things that I want to highlight throughout the course of this call is how detached Rico was. Part of the game is being super detached, not trying to almost have commission breath in a sense. And we find a lot of early salespeople tend to fall into this habit where they're so hungry for the commission that they're like, hey, you know, I'll send you an email and I'll follow up and I'll do all these things. And why don't you want to move forward? And they find themselves in a position where they're actually scaring away their prospect. At the end of the day, the demeanor in which Rico is taking on this call is, you don't have to do this. To be quite honest, I don't really care if you do. What I do care about is that if you're going to come to me with a problem, I want to make sure we find a solution and that I actually help you. And that if you're going to be going through this mentorship, that you take this seriously, that you get all the information that you need, because we truly believe how important it is for each one of our students to see success in the program. And if you're a business owner and or a salesperson, like I said, be detached in how you go about selling your prospect, but be super attached to actually helping them find a solution and solve a problem.
09@gmail.com is a good email address to use.
Yeah.
So let me just copy and paste all that easy information over, and then we'll go into the rest in a second. 579, you said? And quick question for you. Obviously, the inner circle had different options. Did you just do the pay in full option or one of the payment plan options?
Oh, I didn't even know it was a pain.
It does increase the price substantially, but it was...
Pain.
And just, I'll pay in full like that, ladies and gentlemen. So that is exactly step 1 to step 4 of how you close your first sales call. So if you're new to sales or you're a veteran, I'm sure there's something that you can learn here. If you have any recommendations of how we could improve our sales process, or things you would have added, or things we really fucked up, write that in the comments for us. Tell us how we could have improved. Of course, I'm going to continue posting these weekly videos in which we're going to be breaking down calls. We're going to be going over what's working in the marketplace to scale businesses. And I'll see you guys next week, but make sure you hit subscribe so you can see more of our videos. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.